Hello, folks. My name is Elisha Orayai. It has been such an honor to be part of these student led lectures. Today, I will be teaching about Jugaad innovation or frugal innovation. I am curious to know how many of you have heard of what Jugaad innovation is. Like another fellow classmate said about social innovation, I believe that Jugaad innovation can be tied into many of the different types of innovation that we have been discussing over the past few weeks. So here is I have a brief summary of what we will be going over in this lecture and the order that we will be discussing these ideas. I will start by defining what Jugaad innovation is, and I will delve into the principles of Jugaad innovation. I will also talk about like the types and examples of Jugaad innovation. We will talk about Jugaad innovation in the West versus in third world countries. I will delve into the downfalls or limitations of Jugaad innovation, and I'll speak about the future and possibilities that surround Jugaad innovation. And before I conclude this topic, I'll also give you the discussion questions for this week. So let's get into it. What is Jugaad innovation? Jugaad is a Hindi term for innovative fixes and clever solutions. It's a unique mindset tackling challenges with creativity. It's like the art of spotting opportunities in tough situations and resourceful improvisation using simple means is at its core. Jugaad is all about doing more with less. Other ways to describe Jugaad innovation. As I was doing my research on this topic, I ran into this picture, and I liked how, in trying to define Jugaad innovation, they used an artistic interpretation by using different common items to represent the letters of the word. Jugaad innovation was started in India because of resource challenges in the midst of an economy without formal solutions. So basically, when people are in a state of poverty, formation of informal solutions that are frugal and compensatory actually work to awaken uh, the entrepreneurship spirit in people. This concept was based in India but is used all over the world, especially in third world countries. But you will be surprised at how we are using this concept in the West for innovation every day. One of the most well-known scholars in this subject matter of Jugaad innovation is Mr. Navi Rajom, who wrote a very interesting and informative book in which he delved into Jugaad innovation. His book is called Jugaad Innovation, Think Frugal, Be Flexible, Generate Breakthrough Growth. He talks about the 6 principles of Jugaad innovation, and the first one is seek opportunity in adversity situations. This reminds me of a Greek philosopher called Plato, who is known for his theory of necessity is the mother of invention. This is basically what we have been discussing in a few slides above, and a pivotal part of the principle is that there is an inherent motivation to solve problems in adverse situations, which makes logical and conceptual sense, right? If you have food, money, transport, and everything at your disposal, you are less likely to be motivated to want to innovate. But for example, if you don't have a bus system, a car, or any other transportation to commute to work besides your feet, you may just be a little bit more motivated to create wheels or do improvisations on a bike for you to go to work. The next principle is do more with less. In his book, Mr. Navi talks about He gave an example of companies that made services or a product by improvising. A good example is um, using recycled material to make artifacts or to produce other tangible product. Another key principle that he talks about is think and act flexibly. One must have an open mind. And a quote that really jumped out of me from this text when discussing this principle is when he said that we are trained to be creative and think outside the box. Jugaad innovation teaches one to be creative and make a new box altogether. The fourth principle is keeping it simple. Simple fixes or solutions save resources, save a labor, save time, or save money. One principle that I found of interesting is including the margin. We should not make innovation the elite only. Your innovation should serve a large population and touch all margins of individuals. He explains that in the developed world, we tend to view products and services for marginalized segments as a social contribution and not profitable venture. But in fact, marginalized segments can represent a business opportunity in themselves. And lastly, follow your heart. Jugaad innovation allows for creativity, unlike formalized innovations. It allows a few mixture of needs and passions, and quite literally making a fix that your heart desires. We can broadly categorize frugal innovation into two separate groups. The first one is product, and the second one is process. On product innovation, a good example is using banana peels and apple cuttings to make compost, which we will then uh, use on our plants instead of using fertilizer. Then on process innovation, this is not tangible and is more of an idea or a systematic form of innovation, like the rideshare company Uber. Is a system where if you want to use the app but you don't have enough amount of money, you can use a pooling function where you can ride with multiple other riders as you go to your destination. This, I believe, is something we discussed in transportation innovation a few weeks ago. If we look at the graph on the slide, there is a published diagram that shows the steps of Jugaad innovation and how one can move from yen to learn, spam or testing out theories, and churning out a Jugaad product. I made a connection to another theory that I learned about uh, Bosrapian thesis that was brought by Esther Bosrap. This theory was about economics and basically explained that population growth drives agricultural innovation and advancement. This is not exactly Jugaad, but there can be a substantial connection made because there is a driving force or a yen to lead to a pragmatic innovation. Here are some candid examples of Jugaad innovation. I got this from the Indian Express website. Though slightly comical, these are some of the examples um, of Jugaad innovation. A chair and a cord making a hanging TV mount, a bucket with holes being used as a shower head, and a seat from a car that made seemingly comfortable bicycle chair. The fact is that we do this in our daily lives, maybe in a small scale than other countries, but think of our own little Jugaad fixes. Poking holes in water bottle to avoid buying a watering can for plants, or growing a bed of tomatoes and onions in backyard to decrease supermarket trips, even carpooling to work and school to save money and split cost. I'm not trying to overemphasize the definition of frugal innovation, but I am trying to make a point that most scholars in this field underline. Jugaad innovation is everywhere, even in the first world countries. One must have a need and a willing to encapsulate the idea of creating that new box. One of the examples of Jugaad innovation here we see like smart charging of cell phones by bikes in Kenya. In the rural remote villages of Kenya, uh, because people had like a problem of blackout, electricity blackouts, and people had to innovate. So they started using bikes to charge their phones while cycling, since the bikes were being used like as mainstay of transport and the electricity sparse in the country. So a chip was created that would charge the phone through energy using that has been generated by riding the bike. Jugaad innovation in developed countries versus in less economically developed countries. Jugaad innovation is important in less economically developed countries where there is a greater need. In his book, Mr. Naviraj describes one big problem in the West. He talks about how the West may not be prepared to face challenges with downforce because of its top to down um, approach to innovation that started in the 20th century and matured. The West now has a standardized format of innovation that is strict and formal. In his book, he argues that the structured innovation and research and development systems of the West are working for them and they have helped them advance, but they are not sustainable, especially in situations that may arise where there are shortages and economically decline. His argument is that in the developed world, the formal approach to innovation may kill creative drive. Not only are institutionalized methods expensive and drain on resources, they also lack flexibility and are insular to the point of elitism. Hierarchical communication, linear planning, and insular approaches to innovation suggested that these companies will struggle to adapt to major trends such as an increasing social media use. He gives an example of a company that uses Six Sigma, which was pioneered by Motorola in 1986. And because of those formality systems, it is almost impossible to adapt to incoming diverse needs of our world. Jugaad innovation in the United States. I have chosen the University of Pennsylvania Medical Hospital as an example. They created their own version of Jugaad innovation after the pandemic in an effort to face the financial decline and try to lower the cost and generate more hospital beds. They created an age system for their EMR that would inform the doctors if medication that they were about to prescribe yet any cheaper generics. After testing this one out, they noticed the hospital saved 32 million uh, in 2.5 years. This is a great example of process innovation. Also, the next implementation that was made was on training nurses to perform complex procedures that usually only a doctor would perform on a cancer patient. These patients were breast cancer patients that would be seen remotely. This can be seen as another form of process innovation that availed more hospital beds and cut running costs, along with spreading out the work and taking some burden off the physicians, while allowing nurses to advance in their career and increase pay that was more for nurses. Another example of Jugaad innovation that I picked in the United States is the use of apps like Turo and Get Around platforms. These platforms are usually primarily by people who want to rent cars in a cheaper way. These cars are not as luxurious as the mainstream rental companies. This also helps the owners of older and newer cars make money or supplementary income. Another good example of Jugaad innovation being practiced on large scale uh, for the large population, I found a peer-reviewed article on how a paper clip was exchanged for a skin clipping tool that is much more expensive. I did not know that this was capable, but I was amazed. The main reason for the doctors decided to look for alternatives was in the specific case they saw many patients needing dental surgery and not getting treated because of cost. So the doctors can save as little as 800 up to 10,000 US dollars per individual who requires surgery, and that's saving a lot of money uh, on the patient. This humanitarian stride in frugal innovation in India is not only done in dental surgery, but normal office visits, everyday interactions, and even in shunts for brain surgery. So, like any other entity or any other concept, nothing can be all good. Overall, when looking at Jugaad innovation, there are many positives that I have talked about that highlight the advantages of frugal innovation. But there are challenges that are also come along with such concepts. And some of the examples include risk and safety issues with certain products and innovations. When dealing with a more structured and formal way of innovation, there are budget and processes put in place to ensure quality is of acceptable standard. There are government boards and institutions like the Food and Drug Administration or the Federal Trade Commission that regulates and make sure that all items are safe. Using Jugaad innovation on certain products can compromise quality or longevity of certain items. For example, in my home country, in Zimbabwe, there is a running advice at the market that if you are buying anything that is written made in China, you should buy at least two in case one breaks easily. These are items that people need in their household, but they are only affordable through certain vendors that have used Mr. Raju theory and made a Jugaad market for the uh, margin of third world countries. Again, for developing countries, there is a challenge in resources, and in developed countries, there is the challenge of decreasing value or cost to meet the price of a product for the targeted population. So where is Jugaad innovation going? The Indian government is supporting the move towards innovation in its own country. Developed countries are working more side by side with developing countries for the creation of items with funding from developed countries. With the natural resources running low and the economy in general not being stable, developed countries are becoming more and more open to the idea of flexible nature of innovation, that is Jugaad. There is open research of different energy sources and technology. One example is Elon Musk and his goal to provide affordable internet services for everyone, and even developing countries through Starlink, a SpaceX company. I believe the future holds many exciting and interesting developments as the need for Jugaad innovation increases and as the minds of the youth and everyone becomes geared towards making a difference and doing good for the impact and lasting change. While Jugaad innovation originated in developing countries and challenging circumstances, its influence is not bound by geographical or situational limitations. The concept is poised to persist and extend its impact into the Western world, showcasing its enduring relevance. In the years to come, let's keep our eyes open for the doors that will be opened by frugal innovation. This is a sort of innovation that we all use and assimilate in our daily lives, but we may not think of them in a deep nature. I am sure there is still a lot yet to come out of Jugaad innovation in the near and far future. I am grateful for the opportunity to present this topic to you all, and I myself have also learned and gained new perspectives throughout this research. Thank you for your time and attention. Please see the next slides for the discussion questions and topics. I look forward to an exciting week and thought-provoking conversation with you all. These are the questions that we'll be discussing. I will post them in the discussion forum as well. The first is, in your professional and personal life, where do you envision applying Jugaad innovation, and where have you previously employed this inventive approach? And secondly, what do you think can be done to standardize or contribute to sustainability of Jugaad innovation, especially in the context of limited resources in developing countries and economic or sudden national crisis in developed countries? Thank you so much for your time.